Good evening from my part of the world. That is the 29th of April, and I decided that it's high time for April garden tour. We are having an early spring, but evenings and nights are still very cold, and days are very hot. So this like extremes of weather, they are just remarkable right now. And honestly speaking, my garden at the moment is pretty dull and boring and a total mess. But I just decided to share what I'm having at the moment, what I'm looking at right now. Obviously, this year spring is 2 weeks earlier than usual. So let's begin with the corner where I have raspberry and blackcurrant. At the moment, they they are blooming because I can hear bees buzzing all around. And again, right now I can see the amount of blackcurrant that we're going to have this year. And the bushes are healthy, they are looked after. Obviously, I still need some weeding to do, but it is a matter of time. And raspberry, always looks very beautiful at sunset. My mom's flower patch is still a mess. Like, she started doing the weeding here. Well, peonies are lovely, and she hasn't finished it. As you can see, I have apricots in here, and if you watched my previous video about the grafting, the grafts are still alive. Lavender bushes are very big. I have a walnut here as well. Started shooting leaves. Yeah, also lavender needs some weeding to do. The biggest mess is in here because I have patches of strawberries that I still haven't touched. I need to do a lot of weeding here, and we decided to cultivate that patch of land where we have a wild growing raspberry bush, because this year it appeared to be not very nice, and I think that there is no reason in keeping it for so long. Bindweed is also the result of the fact that in here we do not cultivate or do anything. We have only one bush, and we are going to create like another patch. Well, here you can see that something is planted. I have planted potatoes for early crop in here. I use new method of planting that obviously I will be generous enough to share afterwards. That's still like in test mode, but I hope that the results are going to be great. And let's move to the rest of the garden. As you can see, last year we decided to do a bit of like forming the shape of it, and you know what, it's a lot easier to look after it when you have like a certain patch. Yeah. In there we have garlic, which is obviously so great at the moment. It's pretty high as well. And some of the patches look still a mess because it's not like high time for planting what we have planned for them. In here I have rows of carrots for early crop. That is like approximately only this patch, and the remaining part of the patch will be also for carrots, but for later crop, for autumn crop. Again, another patch of strawberries. Here I have planted, like approximately 5 days ago, I have planted beetroot and another variety of potatoes using the same method and the same technique. And last year we planted a new patch of raspberry because I thought that that patch is not enough, especially for jams, for freezing the berries, and that's another one. Also, we extended our garden to that patch, but I'm going to share about it in a separate video, and I decided to like exclude it from this April garden tour. Here I have bushes of gooseberry, of black currant and red currant. By the way, sunset is so generous right now. It looks very beautiful, calm and peaceful. The walnut, by the way, is very reluctant to open up the leaves. It starts like opening up. Just look at that. There is a lot of blossom, hoping for a lot of fruits, but obviously the pear always drop a huge amount of excess fruits as the result, but the blossom is just incredible. That is the apple tree that was damaged by the hare, I think like more than 1 year ago. And the cuts are healing nicely. As you can see, it has grown a bit, became thicker. And this year is not going to bloom. Oh, the spider web looks very nice. Okay, moving on to the grafted pear, to the grafted plum. It started shooting up, and look at that. It survived the winter and planted into a new spot. The blossom is very scarce, but I grafted a cherry, another cherry variety on it, just expecting grafts to be successful. Eventually, I want to graft every branch of this cherry tree because I mean, like, it's useless. There is no any use that I can take out of it, and it like occupies a huge amount of space. The pear that, if you remember, the previous year kind of I rescued from that patch, from that pit that was filled with water all the time during spring thaw. And right now it is feeling a lot better. I hope that the root system is going to be more extensive than when I rescued it. That is another plum. We have 2 plums in here. It's really beautiful. I love the garden at sunset and the singing of the birds, just very adorable. And I have worked here actively only like for 5 days, and everything still looks a mess, so I was like in 2 minds whether I have to show something or not. But it's just reality, it's truth. We all have like our own things to do, and sometimes like we don't have enough time for the garden. I still need to to dedicate some more time. And in here, this is a newly created patch, and the situation here is actually very bad because I planted celery, celeriac, Chinese cabbage, and basil. And last night we had frost. Look at this. Look at these leaves. Obviously, the basil, like a huge amount of basil, just was damaged, was bitten by the frost. Well, some things still, like some, like this one. I have no idea how it survived. Look at that. But the basils here are just gone. Despite the fact that the spring is very early, it is also extremely harsh. It is harsh, and I know that still some people are waiting until planting everything into the open, and my mom decided to gamble, and obviously we lost this gamble, though nothing is still very bad. And tulips are very beautiful, they're very vibrant right now. They closed their heads. Here I have fig trees that I still didn't remove despite the fact that they are very dangerous for my skin, but I decided to leave them be. And here I have grapes, strawberry, new varieties of strawberry I'm going to talk about in the next video, another varieties of grape, and the oldest grape is in there. As you can see, there isn't much happening in here. Oh yeah, you can see that in here, like the tomatoes are under another cover because of cold weather. But look at that, that is the biggest tomato in there. That's the biggest tomato we have grown. And it started blooming, like, can you imagine? At the end of April, having blossom of tomatoes. I think that we are going to break the record of the earliest tomatoes if everything will be okay. Because the weather forecast says that the beginning of May is going to be very cold for Belarus and there will be some frost, so still like don't know what will happen. That's like every time. I do it every time. I plant early every time and I'm like freaking out. Managed to see that smoke. It looks pretty idyllic and beautiful.